Hey guys, and welcome to Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. This is going to be the fourth review in my attempt to clear out my backlog of review codes. So full disclosure, this is a review copy. I think that's all I need to say at this point if you've watched any of my other reviews. Now, this review is long overdue. This is, this game came out back in, well, the Enhanced Edition came out back in October of 2015, and the Classic version came out back in June of the year before, so 2014. And you probably heard about it. The game was a Kickstarter success, and I remember hearing a bunch about it during the campaign, and then a ton of buzz surrounding the game when it came out back in June 14. I didn't hear anything about the Enhanced Edition though until I got the code to review it, and I played around with it a little bit, and that was actually my first look at it. I hadn't looked at the Classic Edition at all. I got to the point where I was comfortable with what I wanted to show off for, first impression kind of review. I set out to make the video, and then a bunch of technical difficulties ended up putting off the whole thing for, well, basically until now. And some point between then and now, Toby was looking for a game we could play together, and I remembered, well, one of the selling points of the game is local co-op. So I said, you know what, you want to play a fantasy game where you get to make your own wizard and cast spells, and we can play it together? And that was basically all she wanted out of a game, so Divinity fit that really well. We ended up playing through the whole thing. Usually we'd play a couple hours when she got back from work, and then she'd get tired and go to bed, and I'd go around stealing shit and selling it off for money, and then eventually close the game and go to bed myself. And we did that for a couple weeks. I think Steam says my runtime for the game is 87 hours. I'd say the first 2+ hours of that were me getting ready for the first couple times I was going to review it, and then the other 85 are probably me. It's probably an inflated number due to me like grinding out cash and stuff. Although a quick look on how long to beat says that the co-op campaign of Divinity Original Sin takes about 75 hours, so maybe it's not that inflated after all. In case you haven't heard anything about Divinity before, what is it? Well, the easiest way to do that would be to go in and show off the game. So, enough me going up and down the menu like a retard here for 3 minutes, and let's just start a new game. But first, I just want to make sure I double check my options here. I want to make sure mostly that subtitles are on, but I don't see that option here unless it's under video. Fake full screen, sure, why not? I'm just gonna hope that all these work nicely. I am playing with a controller. Here's the controller layout if you're interested at all. Is this where it is? Where the heck are they? Oh, okay, they are on. Good. That's all I wanted. Why there's an audio subsection of game instead of those being under audio? I don't know. That's the first criticism. Let's add that to the list. See, it's getting a little framey. That's entirely due to me also recording it with OBS. My entire 85 hours into the game has been solid. I'm going to play single player here. And I'll put it on classic just because that's the go-to default, I would say. I forget the names of them now. You just saw them. You can go back and look at them again. The one above it is easy mode. The one underneath it is hard mode, and then there's another one underneath that. I don't remember what the fourth option is as far as difficulty, but yeah, we're going to start with classic. And so Divinity is an RPG from Larian Studios that's aimed at recapturing kind of the magic of classic computer RPGs like Arcanum, Planescape, Baldur's Gate, stuff like that, but with a large focus on co-op play. I should preface this entire video, or whatever is left of it, however long it is, by saying that if you don't like co-op, or you have no one to play it with, you're not going to get everything out of Divinity. So you see here that we actually get to make 2 characters. That's because there's such a huge focus on co-op. Now we can change the names. I'm just going to keep these because it's just going to be for this video. You can mess with their appearance. You can change your little picture. This is just for on the left side of your screen to show off who you have active command of. You can set AI personalities to them. I have not played around with these, honestly. I'm going to leave them on no AI because I'm going to control them anyway.
There must be a way
voice.
to spring this trap safely.
Ah, forge.
What can I cook up today?
Hold!
I never
A
heard the
whence
warrior
can they
voice
have a
much because I
blade
think
or
my
two?
character was
Perhaps
a
I could
rogue
watch.
and
Could
Toby's
that
was a
have
wizard.
done?
Change your heads. Don't really want to. Hair, we can mess around with that. We're gonna give her a fro, and maybe we make it like pink fro, and then I mean, there's only really two choices for underwear. We'll keep her female. That should be good. And we can change class here. Shadow Blade starts with Thunder Jump, Walk in Shadows, Vampiric Touch. That's solid. What does it start with? One-handed sword. Okay. Wayfarer. Witch. Witch is pretty good. Mostly because of Summon Spider. Now there is the option, if I select here, you get the whole character sheet, and you can mess around with this far more substantially. I can take these, I can take these points out of intelligence. Maybe I don't actually want to be that heavy of a witch. Maybe I want to dump into strength. If anything, I'm going to dump in a freaking speed. That is the stat to max. You see it auto puts a point in willpower. We don't want that. Auto puts points into geomancy and witchcraft. Yeah, we totally want that. That's for summon spider. That's later for summoning undead. Personality, charisma, not really. Craftsmanship, lore master, nah. Nasty deeds. We're gonna need some sneaking. We're gonna need some lock picking. Maybe we want to go into two-handed swords. And there we go. And then we want Pet Pal, which, if you look at the info, lets you talk to animals. This is key. One of your characters has to have Pet Pal. Walk it off. That's dumb. We're gonna get we're gonna go all the way down here, and we're gonna grab Zombie, which you heal from poison, but you take regular damage from healing. There you go. Those are the first two perks you want to get. Consider this my guide for how to get that done. And we only have Geomancy and Witchcraft here. And now Oath of Desecration and Vampiric Touch actually will heal us, which as a zombie will hurt us, so we're gonna not get it. Malediction I don't think is worth it. We'll get Midnight Oil maybe. Do I have to take another spell? Slow the hastes? Yeah, let's go into our skills, our nasty deeds. We'll take out a point of lock picking and we'll put it into... I probably shouldn't be wasting so much time on a character's creation here. What I'm trying to get at is that there is a wealth of customizability right from the get-go as far as what you can do with the character that you can make. So this is basically what I played when I started. I started as Witch. I think I actually kept Vampiric Touch, which was nothing but regrets the whole campaign, because I took Pet Pal and Zombie. Pet Pal, there's a decent chunk of the game locked behind the Pet Pal feat. You have quests that you can't do if you can't speak to animals. You have entirely different ways of doing quests if you can speak to animals. And Zombie is just really interesting from a tactical perspective because now suddenly you have to do all sorts of crazy ass shit that normally you wouldn't be able to do. Pop over here, Roderick. I'm going to try and replicate Toby's character. The easiest thing to do would be to... Oh, fine. Put it in. Okay, we want to go switch to... I think she just rolled Wizard. And... She played a female, and like you don't have to have them both. You can go down here and be like, well, I want to play 2 waifus, double waifu simulator. And honestly, this is fine. Wizard, this is how Toby does her characters. You take everything out of not int and put it into int. And then you come down here and you go into craftsmanship. You don't need that. Personality, you don't need that. Defense, you don't need that. Skills, you've got Geo and Pyro. Well, let's grab Hydro and Arrow. And then we don't want Marksman, Man-at-Arms, or Scoundrel, but we'll grab Witchcraft, and then we're done. That's how you do it. Far Out Man, increase the range of spells and scrolls. Know it all, decrease everyone's add towards you, but gives you the extra point in int. I think we actually didn't grab Know It All, and she grabbed. Maybe she did grab Know It All. You know what? She probably grabbed Know It All. I should very quickly address Lone Wolf here. I'll talk more about Lone Wolf later, but just take a look at it now so that if I discuss it later, you understand where it's coming from. And then for spells, we get pick our spells from a scratch here because we don't want these ones. Okay, we're not going to grab those. We're definitely going to grab Summon Spider so we can double Summon Spider, but for the record, as far as how I played through the game, Toby didn't summon. I did all the summoning. I had every summon in the game, even the shitty one. Even the Scoundrel summon. Teleportation. And heal is probably what we want to start with. And then everything else be damned. Alright. There's a character creation.
In the days of old, the sorcerers of
skip the story, because that's like half, if not 90% of the reason to play an RPG, so I don't want to ruin it. Suffice it to say that magic is magic, and there's evil magic called source, and people who practice it are called sorcerers, and it's the best pun in the entire game. Relies entirely on that pun. Like the crux of the game is the pun, source, and sorcerer. And we play as 2 basically inquisitors who are here to hunt down source. Source hunters is what they're called. I am playing with a controller. You can play with keyboard and mouse. Honestly, I would say it is better to play with keyboard and mouse. But controller support is one of the changes in the enhanced edition, so I thought, I'll play through with that. I will mention that one of my large gripes with the game is you can't play local co-op with 1 person on a controller and 1 person on keyboard and mouse. You have to both be using controllers, which I wasn't a huge fan of. Honestly, I got used to it.
Ships raiding to the west. I'd mistake this for a placid beach. At least the orcs make a bit of noise when they attack. It's dark-dealing sorcerers that'll strike with neither warning
there you
nor
go.
mercy.
Sorcerer. I'm just seeing how framey it gets here. Most of this is just my computer not being able to record while rendering the game. I thought I'd do a little better than this, considering I just set it up to read and write to different read to from one drive and write to another, but apparently not. Apparently it's going to be super framey. You can see why I didn't originally do the review when I wanted to before. Man, you just popped across the map there. I thought there was mini quest over here. Oh, there it is.
Is that a corpse? What's it doing here alone? What? Did you expect it to have an entourage?
So we will open inventory. We'll look at the Traveler's Journal. The statues have granted his wishes. He believes he can fly, so he leapt off the cliff. And you see here we have a talk we can do with the other character.
The man jumped off a cliff at the behest of some statues, of all things.
So now we can choose with Scarlet, our 2-handed sword witch, which in hindsight I should have rolled as warriors, so I would have started with 2-handed sword instead of a staff. how we want her to respond.
Well,
You know what?
great deeds
Maybe she's a
require
little
the
sarcastic.
occasional leap of faith. I myself might have done the same.
A little sympathetic, and then we can choose how the woman whose name I remain Roderick, can respond here. She can either agree or she
And
can
end up a
disagree.
stiff-
Maybe we'll put a little bit of the dichotomy between our two heroes, and you see when they get different stats. If we pop over to character screen, you can check out traits, and we see that her crafting is increased by 1. The other character's crafting is increased by 1 because she got pragmatic, whereas we increased our lucky charm by 1 because we're romantic. And there's a lot of stuff like this, and you notice I had to read the book to actually progress that quest at all. I'm not sure. Sure, why not? That brings me to probably one of the greatest praise I have for this game is if you look at the map, there is a waypoint all the way over here. Siceo Harbor Gate. That is for our overarching plot quest. They give you a waypoint for the overarching plot quest, and that's it. And this game is largely side quests, so they don't give you waypoints for side quests at all. You can place a marker. I can like place a marker here. I can call it boobies, and I can mark it, and then it'll show up on the map, and we can go over towards boobies and see what's there. And obviously there's nothing there because I just kind of set it randomly. Oh hey, look, there was a blue-footed booby flying by. So that's, oh, let me check out this shell and pick that up, yeah. And then there you go. That's how the majority of quest goes. I actually really like that they don't give you waypoints for the stuff like that, where you have to actually hunt things down and find the end result. So we're gonna get into a battle here to start with. There you go.
How did they find us?
Take the stone to the temple. These whelps will be easy to crush.
As you say, Conduit.
So we have our introduction to our antagonist, which Cult is here. And
Arise,
before they
fair
leave, she's gonna
Seize
jump a bunch
upon
of them
our
in on us.
enemies.
So let me scroll through my notes here and pop back into the game. Okay, now let's finish spawning undead on me. There are some other things. I'm going to go through combat really quickly here. Basically, here's another pro tip from somebody who's played through the shit out of this game. Summons. Summons are OP as all hell. Each character can summon one thing. We start with 2 characters. Later on, we'll have 4. And the next thing also is haste. Real good. Weakening Spider Bite. Sure, weaken Lieutenant. And then we have, you see we have, I guess you can't see it there because I'm playing with the controller, so I can't point out. Above my hotbar at the bottom there, you see those little green dots that are going red as I move the cursor around or move over people. And that is our AP. You see here it costs 4 AP to attack either of the characters next to us, but to get to him we would have to move 4 AP worth of movement, and so it would cost 8 AP to attack him. So we can attack either of these two, so we'll attack the first servant, half kill him with our spider, and then our other character gets a turn, and we're going to likewise summon another spider, but this time we're going to block those 2 off from getting to us as easily, because we are squishy mages. There you go. And that spider is acting on spider time as far as initiative, so it'll take a while to get here. Do we want to use any of this stuff? No, we'll just attack him. Boom, finished him. And we can't get an attack off in melee on either of those, but we do have Staff from Magus, which launches earth missiles from our staff. So we'll shoot him with that. And now we have 1 AP left that we can't do anything with, so if we hold our turn, or hold B to end our turn, that AP will actually be saved, so the next time we get a turn we will have 1 AP more. And that's basically combat. You just kind of mouse over guys and hit them. It does get a lot more technical once you have a lot more skills and things available to you. Once enemies have a lot more going on with them. But as far as the beginning here, this is all we've got. Why can I have 4 action points, don't I? Oh, he costs 5, okay. We don't have enough for teleport. So we will fire at him with our stuff. And we don't have enough for anything else, so we'll end our turn. So yeah, so what I was trying to get into earlier when the combat broke out was, and you can also just hit right bumper to switch between targets here. Go up here, go here. And there we go, we finished combat. And in a couple seconds...
Their leader said something about escaping with a stone. Stolen from this dungeon, I am. Those thieves were more than our order.
I'm
Don't
just gonna
help.
mash through this because it doesn't matter. We have our short sword. Any second now these spiders should crumble over themselves. There they are. That's one, and give another one for the other guy. There it is. Okay. So let me spin around in circles here for a minute while I talk about. I will show off that. While I talk about some of the changes from the Enhanced Edition to the Classic Edition. Now, I didn't play the Classic Edition. But I looked, I think, on the Steam store page to see what the changes were between the two editions. Enhanced Edition adds controller support and split screen co-op. Both huge selling points. So that's good. Those are both good things. Voiceovers, you might have noticed that it's completely voiced. I don't know if Classic was not voiced at all or just had less voice. But this one's completely voiced over, which is nice. There's new quests, areas, and characters. I can't remember exactly which characters are the new ones. There are 4 characters that you can recruit to your team, but your party can only have a maximum size of 4. There is an excellent mod that came out, I don't know when, recently. It wasn't out when I was playing. That lets you recruit all 4 of the characters into a party of 6. And there's 2 versions of the mod, one with and one without a moderate difficulty increase to account for the extra 2 characters. If you're going to play Divinity, oh my god, play with that mod. So that you can get the full experience and get all the characters out of the character and get all the quests out of the character, all that stuff. Play with the moderate increase in difficulty if you feel like you need to, if you feel like you're up to it. But definitely play with all 6 characters if you can, unless you want to play around with the Lone Wolf talent, which I was talking about during character creation. If either character takes Lone Wolf, neither character can have party members. This is kind of a drag for me when we tried it. We dropped a save before we leveled out. I want to see if Lone Wolf is going to destroy the game. Took Lone Wolf, immediately both our party members left, lost their gear, just kept their key items. Kind of disappointed, so okay. We reverted back and I got rid of Lone Wolf. Which was kind of a buzzkill, but I understand why. There was also dual wielding, wands, and grenades that were all added. Grenades are basically just, well, they're grenades. They're like fire bombs. There's grenades for basically every kind of spell in the game. You just toss a grenade at it. It's kind of like a scroll, but they're a ranged AoE version. So there's a charm grenade that you get later in the game. Holy shit, is OP. Wands are basically just weak staves that have charges of spells on them, so I don't think either of us have them. Staff. Switch over to Roderick here. Staff. Okay. So no, we both started with staves, but you can get wands, and you can dual wield wands. You can dual wield any one-handed weapons. You can dual wield one-handed swords. You can dual wield wands. All sorts of cool stuff like that. Those are new in Enhanced Edition. There's an Explorer mode difficulty and Honor mode difficulty. I briefly touched on in the beginning. I think Explorer is the easy mode, and then Honor is the not hard mode. Maybe it's the extra hard mode. I think Tactician was the hard mode. And then there's just the other bullet point they had here was enhanced interface, graphics, animations, effects, and sound. So basically the game is prettier, nicer, worth paying, you know, the $40. I think it retails for $40 US. and it's 44 Canadian. It usually drops lower in Steam sales. I think I saw it at 30 in a Steam sale once. I imagine that was like a year ago, back when I was first going to review it, so you can probably get it cheaper now. There is one other thing I want to address here. Where was it? Okay, yeah, this is the tutorial dungeon up here. I'm going to skip it for the purposes of this video. I think this video is long enough without me running through the tutorial dungeon. But if it's your first time through, I suggest you go in there. You get some cool stuff. Mostly you get to, that's telling me to go do it. I'm not going to. Yeah, you get some cool stuff. Mostly you get tutorialized to different aspects of basic dungeoneering that you're going to want. Waypoints let you fast travel around the map. There is one quest I want to show off over here, I think it was. I hope it was over here, because I'm running over here to do it. Yeah, there it is. Ishmashal.
Look! A wanderer comes my way, walking the sands upon which this poor shell must suffer. Call me Ishmashal, son of the sea, an outcast upon these wretched shores. An exiled shell, doomed to live under a canopy of arid sky, not his native, tender water. My fate is a cruel one, I assure you. How many snot-noses have held me up against their dirty little ears, only to claim they can hear the ocean? Of course they can hear her, the brats! We are on the very edge of the great aquatic mother, whose embrace I so desperately long for. Yes, yes, I, King of Pearls, ache to repose anew on his coral throne. Hurl me toward the water. Swing me as... Of course I can talk, don't be silly. There's more tongue to time is an indulgent... Oh, I remember in all this I had... What do you say,
So, this is a talking shell who wants to be thrown into the water. And we have different ways we can approach this. We can help him out, we can throw him in the water. I think this is what I did when Toby and I played. I think he just spits out a treasure chest.
King of Pearls, you quite so.
Blackguard!
Let's take him. He's mine now. And I think... Oh yeah. Talking shell, we picked it from the beach. It's been quiet ever since we snagged it. Sweet. Pick up some more shells, why not? There is... You might have noticed that when I picked the first option, or when I was given the choice of how I wanted to tackle the quest, I was then given the choice again for the other character. This is probably my favorite part of Divinity Original Sin, is this debating mechanic here, and we're going to see the other side of it right here.
Hold it right there, orc scum! No one slips past the Legion unchallenged.
Calm down, Julius. Doesn't look like one of them orcs to me. Not a single orc in sight, you know.
Just hold your tongue, will you, Bibius? Can't be too careful. We are
So, you're
We're source hunters, out of our way.
you? And how are we supposed to verify that's true? We can't read, my friend.
Yeah, peasants
So for
shouldn't
all
be
we
able to
know,
read.
Those papers say you're a polymorph parrot on the lookout for a 2-bedroom birdcage. They don't prove a thing.
You know what? We'll take you two to the wizard. I know he reads. He has books large as a house, that one. Yeah, he'll squeeze the truth out of you, one way or another.
Now, I've never actually had them take me to the wizard. I imagine I know who the character they're referring to with the wizard are, and this is like how the plot would progress. But I want to show off something. So let's have our spunky Scarlet decide that we don't need a bunch of drunks to show us, and we will even threaten them. But Roderick here,
Or face me.
she's a little more reserved, and definitely not one to just go around killing drunks just because they're in your way.
Mad. You'd kill the
And now we have a disagreement on our hands. So
peacefully.
Scarlet has, and I can't check our character stats here, but we are given 3 ways to approach the subject or to back down. We can either try and intimidate Roderick, we can charm her, or we can reason with her. We'll go with a half-baked reason here that if we let drunk-ass guards who can't do their job right hang around, it's only going to cause problems later.
These two almost mistook us for orcs and would have attacked us for no reason. We must
And now
rid the city
Roderick
from
is
menaces
not
such as
given the
these.
option to back down because Roderick initiated the disagreement, so Roderick has to continue. And Roderick's like, well, no, if you want to punch the guards, you got to punch me too.
Unless you want me
And
to
then we have this
stand
rock,
by
paper,
and let
scissors
them give you a
mechanic.
good
So
thrashing.
because of the way I built the characters, they both have even scores. So you see there are 10 bubbles between Scarlet's picture, the circle in the middle, 10 more bubbles, Roderick's picture. In order for that character to win the rock, paper, scissors, and in a co-op game, you would each choose rock, paper, scissors. I'm not sure it's going to work here. But let's just go ahead and pick rock. So Roderick picked paper and beat me. Now she got 2 dots because her intimidate score is 2. If you are more invested in intimidating, charm, reasoning, you would win faster than the other player. And I know there were a lot of situations where Toby would try to persuade an NPC. It's not just conflict between characters, it happens between NPCs as well. An NPC who had, say, 6 reason, and she had a reason of 1. Maybe it was me that did that, because I'm pretty sure her reason was usually higher. We're just going to force rock to see the end of this. And, actually, I want to win. So I'm going to try and win. I mean, it's hard to rock, paper, scissors, and AI. But, oh, maybe I won't win. Now, she's going to expect me to throw scissors, so I'm going to throw paper again. Oh, shit. Alright, so she only needs to win once, and now I only need to win once, so basically all the rock, paper, scissors comes down to this. Let's go trusty paper. Yes, we won. Okay.
No,
So I won this
we'll
argument
do as I
with
say,
Scarlet.
and then-
You defy the lead.
So now we have to do it Scarlet's way, which is we kick the shit out of them. And obviously we're going to drop a spider on them because you're not going to not drop a spider. I mean, come on. And with the rest of our AP, we're going to haste. So, oops. Haste so we have more AP, and then we're done. The spider is going to weaken one of them. Sure, Junius, because he's there. And the weak failed, you see, so he's not actually weaker, so we'll continue to hit him. And just so they can't get us, we'll drop another spider on them. And we'll end our turn, even though I think that took all our AP. Get used to this battle music. A lot. Smash you with magic. And we actually have enough AP to come up and hit him here. So we'll finish him with that. Oh, it didn't feel. Alright. Well, we'll finish him with this then. Oh, really? Alright, well, we'll take our 2 AP and move towards the other guy then. And this spider will finish Junius. No, this spider will finish Junius. Almost. No, not enough to get him, so we will magic missile him. I think we just leveled up. No, we didn't level up. Make our way forward here. I thought there was a dog in this fight, but I must be mistaken.
That ought to hurt.
And not enough AP, so we're gonna move away so the other spider can get in here. Not enough. We have enough to hit him with that. Or it's too far. If we move 2, is he still too far? Yeah, he's outside our circle. So Spyro just in return. And we will finish this off with a magic missile to his face. Boom. And there we go, and then we have one more dialogue because.
Well, there we have it. 2 dead legionnaires. This feels wrong. Don't be so soft.
And there we go. Got some more traits, and I'm gonna actually switch back to Scarlet. And I think that's basically gonna do it for showing off the game. Let's see. Yeah, basically what I wanted to mention was, as far as character creation, you can go massively out there as far as what you want. You don't have to like be rogue and then you have to be rogue all game and you're gonna hate it. I think I started as a warrior, so that I start with a suit of armor and a 2-handed weapon. And I invested my points so that I started with geomancy and witchcraft so I could summon spider and then later summon undead. You see I have a scroll down here, summon undead warrior. And by the end of the game I had my toe in every spell because every spell had a summon elemental or other thing. Man at Arms was just super useful. I think the only thing I wasn't in was marksman, and I seriously considered dipping into marksman just for the like first aid and Dexy skills. Like even Scoundrel you get to summon a little undead clockwork guy with a big bomb on him that just you have to summon him really close to you, and then he just walks in the enemies and you just hit him with fire and he explodes. It was great times. Everybody loved him. Gold, this up, pick that up, loot a barrel. Sure, I'll pick it all up. Yeah, loot everything. We're still beginning the game, we can follow things and we'll loot everything. Really like how you can just completely change the kind of characters you're playing with. And you can do that to the NPCs too, like you can, you know, recruit the rogue NPC and the archer NPC, and then at the end of the game they can be wearing full plate and shooting fireballs, if you really want them to. You can do whatever you'd like with them. I really like the tactical gameplay of the combat. I like how it's basically a tactics game. You just move your chess pieces around the board, use your skills, blow up your enemies, you win. I love tactics. I love tactics. I can't say much wrong against the combat in the game. That rock, paper, scissors mechanic I just showed off is probably the coolest thing ever. Probably one of my favorite things about the game. It adds this really awesome role-playing element to the meta of co-op, where things get really dynamic and interesting. You can start to actually argue over whether or not you want to approach a situation one way or the other, and whether or not you actually want to have to break out the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, which is what Toby and I did a lot of the time, was we'd look at the situation and say, I'm actually going to back off because it's lagging the game with the massive combat down on the beach there. Let's spin the camera away. You can kind of see that there's an orc fighting a bunch of soldiers down there. I want to get away so that the game doesn't chug so hard to record. I'll hang out back here while I discuss things for a little bit. Sure. Mechanic is probably one of my favorite things ever. Like, we would sit there, we approach the situation, we'd be like, okay, do we want, like, my option would come up first if I initiated the dialogue, and I'd be like, okay, these are the 2 options for how we want to approach the quest. What do we want to do? I want to do this. And then a lot of times I would just pick it and leave it up to Toby whether or not she wanted to disagree. Sometimes I wait and, like, be civil about it if I didn't really care how we completed the quest one way or the other. And you get to kind of see how well you agree with the person you're playing with. In single player, it's solely for role-playing purposes. In multiplayer, it adds an actual, like, it adds a really crucial mechanic to being able to resolve conflict with your partner, which I think is really cool. The game has some issues. The frame rate is not one of them. It played fine when I wasn't recording. Never had that sort of issue. There were some bugs that I encountered This one's not a bug. You can't play keyboard and mouse for player 1 and player 2 on the controller. Logistically, I understand completely why you can't, but, you know, perfect world, you could do that. Switching from one mechanic to another, like I know when Toby would stop and I'd just sit there and go around stealing things to sell off to merchants to make money, I'd switch back to keyboard and mouse, and I prefer the keyboard and mouse controls. For the purpose of the video, A, for my recording setup, and B, because it's the new thing in the Enhanced Edition, I went with the controller for this video. You can, I think, just switch in the middle of a game. You can just go to, I think it's the game, and, oh, maybe you can't disable it. I think you can enable it if you start with keyboard and mouse, but you can't disable it once you've started, apparently. Or you can just, I'm pretty sure you can just go back to the main menu and it'll let you do it there. I prefer the keyboard and mouse, but I've gotten used to controller and it plays fine. Mostly with controller, you have this hold down the A button to search your vicinity option, which I really like. And then you can be like, oh, there's a shell there, I just didn't notice. Keyboard and mouse, you don't have the option. You have to scan with the keyboard and mouse. I don't think you have the option anyway. I know you can hold, I think it's Alt, and it brings up the names of all the items around you, a la Diablo, I know did as well. And that works just as well. I prefer the being able to hold A to search function. I prefer it. But yeah, there were some bugs. I can't remember many of them. I know there were some bugs we encountered outside of this one. The only one I can remember is there was one battle in specific, and if the devs are watching this video and want my bug report, it is the battle with the man who steals the animals' voices. Consistently, every time we did it, the turn would roll around to one of Toby's characters. She was playing herself and the caster party member Jahan, or Jahan. Yeah, it was Jahan. And consistently, some point during that battle, her turn would be bugged up. She would not be able to enter a command or move a character. If she tried to move around in battle, she'd be able to move the cursor, but whenever she tried to move, the character would never actually do it. She couldn't use any abilities. Nothing was working as far as inputs, and it would say, I think the hotbar was messed up, and it would show a different character's hotbar. And the fix we found for it was to hit the start, second player would drop out, and then all the characters go back to first player. Then they drop back in, and I'd have to go to assign characters there and send the characters back over to her, and then she'd have control of them again. Tedious, annoying, not game breaking. I think the first couple times we thought it was game breaking, and we kept assuming shit was just crashed and broken, and we'd just quit out and go back to our save, and it was annoying. We ended up putting that fight off for a while because it's mostly only can happen consistently in that fight. It did happen again in the final boss fight, but by then we knew how to work around it and fix through it and keep playing, and it was fine. There were other bugs that happened, but I can't remember any of the other ones, really. The only other gripe I think I had was if you go and check your character and you want to level up, say, strength. It says, okay, determines your offense rating with strength-based weapons, improves your man-at-arms skills and how much you can carry, and increases the weight of the items you can carry and how far you throw them. Great. If I go into my skills, my man-at-arms, determines how many man-at-arms skills you can learn and how many action points it costs to learn higher ones. And it says here, level 1 allows you to learn and use 3 novice, 0 adept, and 0 master man-at-arms skills. Okay, great. That's useful enough. I'm going to go to defense and look at armor specialist. Armor specialist improves your armor rating and decreases your heavy armor movement penalty. Great. I like that it tells me the mechanical bonus plus the armor rating, 20% movement penalty. As you progress in the game, at a certain level, armor will require you to have a point of armor specialist. And then it'll require you to have 2, and then it'll require you to have 3. And you don't know at what point you need that point in armor specialist until you find armor that requires it. Likewise with, say, Lore Master, which identifies items. Initially, you just need the identifying glass, and then you might need 1 point of Lore Master. At some point, you'll start needing 2, and you won't know it until the item requires you to know it. I kind of wish there was a way to see that on here, because when you're considering where to put your points when you level up, you're going to look here to see them, and they're not going to be here. Small gripe, not a big deal. You just kind of have to know to work around it that way. Honestly, you should be saving your points after levels anyway, and not leveling up everything immediately, probably. It's just a better habit to get into. But stuff for the armor stat, whether or not you can lockpick a given door, or whether or not you can learn a new spell is usually on the other thing. Here, it'll tell you how many spells you can learn, but you won't know for a spell whether or not you can learn it until, well, I mean, you know you have the slots. You won't know if the spell you are getting is, I think it doesn't say, it says on the book, the skill book that you learn, I believe, whether or not it's novice, adept, or master. So you just kind of have to plan around that, which isn't a big deal. Wikis exist. Weapons as well, just like the armor, you will at some point need to have a second level of two-handed to equip better two-handed weapons. You'll need a second level of bow to wield better bows, that kind of thing. I think those are basically all the gripes I had with the game. So I think that's basically it. I'm actually going to go back to the main menu here. In summary, I'm a huge fan of Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. If you haven't played the classic game before, definitely give it a look if it's something you're into. Especially if you have someone to play it with. Recently, they successfully funded Divinity Original Sin 2 through the Kickstarter. And I'm very much looking forward to that release. I'll say here, if I can get a code for it, and honestly, even if I can't, I will probably see if I can convince Toby to do a full LP of Divinity Original Sin 2 with me. That is definitely something I would be down for. Assuming recording works out nicely, better than it did here. Probably, hopefully I'll have better computer parts by then, maybe. If you're going to pick up the game, definitely grab the Enhanced Edition. There's basically no reason to grab the Classic Edition over it that I can think of. There's more stuff in the Enhanced Edition. There's more party members. There's more items to use. There's more skills. There's more quests. There's more areas. There's more to the game in the Enhanced Edition. It is the Enhanced Edition. It's better than the regular edition. No reason not to play the better version. Except maybe price. But honestly, if you're going to invest in something like this, pay for it. Pay to get the full experience, because right now Enhanced Edition is the full experience. Additionally, get the mods for having all 4 characters in your party that I mentioned earlier. My biggest regret basically is just not being able to see what's going on with the rogue or the paladin character, where their quest lines went, just who they were as characters. I think we did resolve the rogue's quest line. We did not resolve the paladin's quest line. Each character basically only has one quest line that you just kind of put off until about 2/3 of the way through the game. And we did all of them except the paladin's one. But we never really brought the rogue with us, so I don't know anything about the rogue as a character. I don't know anything about the paladin as a character, except that we recruited them and they hung out in a dining hall for the entire campaign. But yeah, I'm really glad to see that mod exists, because I was really kind of disappointed to not have that mod. Yeah, glowing recommendation for Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. Definitely check it out if you're at all a fan of RPGs. If you don't have anyone to play with, if you especially co-op. Like, you could play it multiplayer easily, but really, to get that full multiplayer experience, I'm a huge fan of co-op over online multiplayer 100% of the time when possible. If you don't have somebody to play it with and you end up playing it solo, I think you might want to pass on it, though. If you haven't played any of the, like, 5-star classic pillars of this genre, if you haven't played Baldur's Gate, if you haven't played Planescape, if you haven't played Arcanum, holy shit, go play Arcanum. Neverwinter Nights, the list goes on and on for games genre, and the question is, will I enjoy it solely on my own over those games? Probably not. Writing, I was fine with the writing. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of it, but I didn't really have any gripes with the writing. But I've heard a lot of people online levy poor writing as a criticism of the game. I thought it was fine. Sure, a little campy, a little too humorous, doesn't take itself super seriously, but it's functional. I enjoyed the humor in it, but it's not going for, the Nobel Peace Prize in literature and gaming. It's not Planescape Torment. Mechanically, it does some cool co-op based mechanics, but if you're not getting that, it's kind of just another game. You could play something like Arcanum, which gives you, honestly, more freedom in how you approach situations than Divinity. Well, Divinity gives you a decent amount of freedom in regards to situations. Usually it's option A or option B. There isn't usually more than two ways to approach a situation. But the situations are, like, the ways to approach a situation are usually pretty interesting. There are some situations where you do get to approach them more than 2 ways. There are some situations where you only get to approach them 1 way. Arcanum, I remember loving Arcanum solely on that, is that there were a million ways to approach situations. There were really inventive ways to go about completing the game based on how the player decided they wanted to approach situations. If you want to kill off the first major NPC you have to look for, you can, and you can continue the game after that, which was a huge thing for me with Arcanum. You don't have that kind of freedom with Divinity. But if you have somebody that you're looking to play with, definitely rope them in, play with Divinity with them. There is a pack on Steam where you can get 2 copies of it, and I think it also comes with a bunch of Larian's old Divinity games, pre-Original Sin, which I can't say anything about. I own them all. I haven't played them all. As far as I know, none of them have co-op in them. So I lose a lot of interest in playing them, honestly. Man, this video has gone on very long. If you've stuck it out with me this long, thank you very much for watching. Consider hitting the like button or subscribing to the channel. Both of these things help me out a lot. If you played Divinity, comment in the video below. Let me know what you thought of it, how you enjoyed it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.